So we're done with the endocrinology part. So let's go with the reproduction, which is mainly talks on the female reproductive system. So let's have the review of the female reproductive system and its physiology.
Recording in
So na-record na
progress.
dyan? Okay, so to start with, let me just give you the objectives or the target outcomes of this topic. And primarily, this will give you a review, or at the end of this topic, you are able to review the basic anatomy of the female reproductive system, and not just only the anatomy, but we have also the physiology of or the physiological aspects of the different parts of the female reproductive system. So the picture on the lower right of the screen shows you the orientation of the female reproductive system of a cattle. And on the left side, this one shows you an electron micrograph of a sperm cell, the yellow one, that is wandering inside the female reproductive tract. And the pink here, these are the cilia present in the female reproductive tract, particularly in the uterus, and we have also in the oviduct. And in the female reproductive tract, we call this cilia as, ano ulit yun sa histo ninyo? What you call that one? Shoot. Ano ulit yun ang tawag ninyo? We call this as kape. Anong tawag ninyo dyan sa mga cilia na yan? Sa histo ninyo? Ha? Anong tawag ninyo? So we call this as, ano yon, Mr. Jeriel? Anong tawag niyo dyan? Anong tawag? Hmm? May no? Sa histo? Anong tawag ninyo dyan? Anyone? Anong tawag ninyo sa cilia na present sa oviduct at saka sa uterus that aid in the movement of the egg cell as well as the sperm cell? Anong tawag ninyo dyan? Hmm? Anong tawag nyo? Tatawag pa ba ako ng mga estudyante para sa recitation? This will be the last recitation for today or for the semester. Anyone? Or tatawag na lang ako. Ano? Anong tawag nyo na dyan? Hmm? Hindi tayo lilipat hanggat walang nakakasagot or walang sumasagot. Kahit magtitigan tayo dito maghapon. Hanggang 5 o'clock.
Fimbria po ba, Dok?
It's not Fimbria.
Dok, ano po yung tanong?
Cilia present in the female reproductive tract, particularly in the fallopian tube and in the uterus. We call this as starts with the letter K. Ano na, naubos ko na yung kape ko. Ha? Ano ulit yon? We call this as the kinocilia. The kinocilia. So these are the cilia present in the female reproductive tract that could aid in the movement or facilitate the movement of the sperm as well as of the egg cell, and at the same time we have the developing zygote or the developing embryo during implantation or nidation. I hope this one is very clear to you guys. Sa histo kasi ay dinidiscuss naman ito. Okay, so moving on. When we say the female reproductive system, so it is composed of paired ovaries. Okay, paired siya. And at the same time, we have also the duct system. When we say duct system, these are the tubes, that can be composed of, we have the oviduct, or we have the fallopian tube, or ano ulit yung ibang pangalan? We have the other term, uterine tube, another one. Anong nagsara? Ay, hindi ko alam. Baka mga estudyante, nung nakitang nagkaklase ako.
Cervix, Dok.
Cervix, hindi, ito na yung cervix natin. We have the salpinx. The salpinx. Wait lang. Oops. We have the salpinx. Kaya nga, ang inflammation of the fallopian tube, inflammation ng oviduct, inflammation ng uterine tube ay salpingitis. Kaya ang pangalan ng fallopian tube ay we have the salpinx. Then we have also the uterus itself, which is primarily composed of horn. Nakita nyo naman. Then we have also the body. And we have the neck of the uterus, which is termed to be the cervix. Okay, so right after the cervix, we have the internal vagina. And then we have the posterior vagina. And lastly, we have the external genitalia, which is, if we view this outside, we could notice, or we could have the vulva, which is composed of the labia minora and the labia majora, as well as we have also the female counterpart of penis in male, so that is the clitoris. Plus, we have also these vestibular glands, that could help in the lubrication of vagina, since vagina is the part of the female reproductive tract that bears no gland, therefore wala siyang secretion drive. So with vestibular glands, particularly the Bartholin's gland, ay Bartholin's gland, sila yung nakakatulong para malubricate yung vagina, lalong-lalo na during copulation or mating. Okay, so that's one. And the picture on the right, again, shows you the orientation of the female reproductive tract of a cattle, as well as the schematic diagram of a ruminant, ruminant female reproductive tract. Bakit ko nasabing ruminant? Anyone? Diyan sa picture na yan, masasabi mo na schematic drawn, ruminant yan. Anong structure ang distinct sa kanila? Anyone?
T-shape, Doc.
Aside from the T-shape, we have also the presence of caruncle here. So this will serve as one of the components of a placentome. So look at the dots. These are the caruncle. So kung makikita ninyo yung mga samples ng mga section B with the cattle's reproductive tract, ang lalaki ng mga caruncles nila doon sa endometrium ng uterus. Para siyang mga kabute. Ganoon ang itsura niyan. So that's the maternal caruncle. Ang isa pang component ng placentome, aside from the maternal caruncle, we have the fetal cotyledon. Fetal cotyledon. Okay, and we have also the maternal caruncle. So these constitute the placentome, or the location of the exchange of gases and the nutrients between the developing embryo and the mother. Okay, so that one. And moving on, we have also the hymen. This is a bond or connective tissue that could possibly be teared kapag ang isang individual ay merong excessive movement. Like that in human, sabi nila kapag magbabike ka, pwedeng mapunit or ma-tear itong hymen. Okay? And this serves as a junction between the outer and the inner vagina. So the picture on the right side of the screen, this one is the hymen, itong na-penetrate na itong tube na ito. Okay? And we have also this one. These are the structures of the hymen. And of course, in human, ito, yung hymen na yan. Nabubutas. Natetear, napupunit. Okay. And speaking of the development, during the embryonic development ng female individual, we have these origins of different parts ng female reproductive tract. Like we have the Mullerian duct. This will be the parent organ or the progenitor of, say, we have the fimbria of the oviduct or the fringe structures before the infundibulum. And then we have also the fallopian tube, as well as the uterus and the vagina. So these are all came from the Mullerian duct. Okay. And then we have also the urogenital sinus. Pag sinabi nating sinus kasi, butas iyan. So basically, the adult structure of this urogenital sinus is we have the urethra, we have also the vestibule, and then we have also the vagina. Lastly, we have also the genital tubercle. In anatomy, if we say tubercle, meron siyang prominence, no? Parang bumukol na structure. So this could be, or this is the future clitoris. Okay, so let's take a look with the images. Say we have here the urogenital sinus. Kung nakikita ba? This one. Nakikita ito? Ayan, opening yan na nagiging urethra, na nagiging vestibule at saka vagina. True enough naman, tama ang vagina, butas, or location ng butas, right? So in human, this could serve as the copulatory organ. Okay? Dito kumakabit yung penis. Okay. And aside from that, if we try to take a look with this portion, prominence, this is the genital tubercle na nagiging clitoris sa babae. And also, I just want to pinpoint to you, sorry. Ano ba to? Ba't hindi gumalaw yung pinpoint to you the Mullerian duct. So this Mullerian duct is intended for female individual. Ano naman ang counterpart nito sa lalaki? This is for the female. And the Wolffian duct is intended for the male. So in this picture, we could tell that the individual that is developing in here is still in the indifferent stage. So hindi pa siya babae or lalaki because of the presence of the Mullerian duct that is intended for the female and the Wolffian duct that is intended for the male. Now, if the developing embryo secretes the anti-Mullerian hormone, this hormone suppresses the growth or the development of the Mullerian duct. Therefore, ang magiging individual natin or sex ng individual natin ay ano? Pag merong anti-Mullerian hormone, magiging
male.
Magiging male because ipoprogress niya yung pag-grow ng Wolffian duct. So, ganyan ang nagiging development kapag dating sa mga sexes ng individual. So let's take a look with the upper image. Say we have here the bipotential gonad. When we say bipotential gonad, pwede siyang maging lalaki or pwede siyang maging babae because of the presence ng both Wolffian duct and the Mullerian duct. Look at this one, the orange na lalagyan ko ng pula. This is the Mullerian duct. Okay? And the green one here, this is the Wolffian duct that is for the male. Okay? Ngayon, kapag itong bipotential gonad na ito ay nag-secrete nga ng sinabi kong anti-Mullerian hormone, matatanggal ang Mullerian duct or mag-degenerate and magpo-progress ay yung ating Wolffian duct na magiging testis, magiging epididymis, kaya lalaki yung individual. Okay? Whereas kapag ka naman ang nagkuan ay Mullerian hormone, hindi siya anti-Mullerian hormone, Mullerian hormone, magpo-progress yung development ng Mullerian duct and magde-degenerate naman ang Wolffian duct. Therefore, the individual is female. I hope this one is clear, natatandaan, klaro, hindi nalilito. Okay? So, moving on, let's go with the ovary. And we have discussed before that the ovary for the different species of animal ay nagva-vary ng shape. Say, if an individual or the species of the animal is a polytocus, when we say polytocus, ano ulit yun? Polytocus. Yeah, thank you, Miss Cruz. Maraming anak. And whereas if the animal is monotocus, sila yung mga single-bearing animal lang. Katulad ng mga kabayo, katulad ng mga baka, kadalasan isa lang yung kanilang inaanak. So, in comparison to the polytocus animal, like we have the bitch, we have also the sow, we have also the queen. So, ito yung mga litter-bearing animals. Ibig sabihin, more than one yung kanilang inaanak. So, expected that for those polytocus animal, ang shape ng kanilang mga ovary ay kadalasan almond shape. But for the sow, this resembles a bunch of grapes. Say we have the almond-shaped ovary of a sow, but di ba na-describe natin na bunch of grapes siya? Parang makikita mo may mga bukol-bukol siya doon sa surface, like this one, no? Kasi marami silang mag-ovulate. That's why they are polytocous. Kung minsan may nanganganak ng 12, may nanganganak ng 15, expected that during their development nitong mga follicle na ito, 15 o ba ang umalis or nag-ovulate. Okay? So that is the ovary. And we have also yung mga shape nila ay kidney shape, like that of we have the mare. When we say mare, these are female horse. Yes, female horse like this one. And the number one structure here that is being pinpointed is the ovulation fossa. Anywhere dito sa side ng mare's ovary, kahit halimbawa nandito ang tertiary follicle niya or nandito ang Graafian follicle niya or nandito, dito sa ovulation fossa pa rin ito lalabas. Okay? Nagkakaintindihan? Ha? Klaro ba yun? Kasi this ovulation fossa is the site of all ovulations during the lifetime ng horse. Unlike for the cattle, for the dog, and iba't pang species ng animal, kung nasaan yung kanilang Graafian follicle, doon sila mag-ovulate. No? Kung nasaan ay doon sila mag-ovulate. Unlike for the horses, nag-ovulate lang sila sa ovulation fossa. And take a look with the anatomy of this one. The normal ovary is we have the cortex or the outer part, and then we have also the medulla or the middle part. But for the horse, this is the cortex and this is the medulla. And let me remind you that in these two parts of ovary, we have different structures present here. Like in the cortex, we have different stages of follicles. Like we have the primordial follicle, the primary follicle, the secondary follicle, the tertiary follicle, and the Graafian follicle. Whereas for the medulla, the structures present here are the arteries and the veins or the blood vessel. We have also connective tissues for support, and then we have also the nerve supply. So please remember that. Okay, and this is a cross-section of the mare's ovary, and this is the ovulation fossa. So this one is the cortex, and this one is the medulla. Okay, and the picture below shows you the schematic diagram of a normal or majority of the ovaries of different species of animal, showing you the medulla, and then we have also the cortex here. And as we have discussed that in the cortex, we could have different stages of follicular development. We have from the primordial follicle here, the primary follicle, and then we have the developing, the secondary follicle, plus we have the tertiary, the mature or the Graafian follicle. So how to differentiate them? If we say primordial follicle, this is composed of a single layer of granulosa cell or follicular cell that is flattened in shape. Flat yan. For the primary follicle, this is also composed of single layer of follicular cells or granulosa cells that are cuboidal in shape. Cuboidal in shape. Whereas for the secondary and other developing follicles, these are composed of at least 6 to 9 layers of granulosa cells. Well, for the Graafian follicle here, the prominent structure present when we take a look with this one is the presence of the antrum or the space within the developing follicle or maturing follicle. Antrum, A-N-T-H-R-U-M. And this antrum contains fluid that is rich in estrogen. And also, the function of this antrum is it pushes the developed ovum on the side of the cortex of the ovary that is ready for ovulation. Itutulak niya yung ovary, yung ovum. Tutulak niya yung ovum or yung egg cell papalabas ng ovary kapag ka meron ng ovulation. Okay? And then, right after the ovulation, the antrum or the space of the antrum as well as the ovulated ovum will be filled with blood. And we call this structure as, ano ulit? Ha? Anong structure na yon kapag ka na-fill ng blood yung antrum at saka yung location dati ng egg cell? Ha? Blood. Anong magiging tawag sa structure na yon? Ha? We call this as, ano yon? From the group? DBM 4A? Ha? We call this as sa inyong embryo, corpus hemorrhagicum. No? Kasi ang content niyan ay blood. Then later on, towards the development of this structure, the corpus hemorrhagicum will be invaded by the luteal cells. So from red-bodied structure, this corpus hemorrhagicum ay yung final schedule ng exam. Thanks, Doc. Sige, mag-schedule ako ng exam. So invade yan ng mga luteal cells. So from red-bodied structure, magiging yellow-bodied structure. Then we call this as the corpus luteum. Nagkakaintindihan?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah. And then, sa mga readings ko, we have also different types of corpus luteum. Okay? We have the corpus luteum of non-pregnancy and then corpus luteum of pregnancy. So for the non-pregnancy ay transient lang yan. Kapag hindi naman talaga buntis ang individual, meron pa rin siyang corpus luteum pero saglit lang. Okay? And we call this corpus luteum of non-pregnancy as, nakikita yung tinatype ko? Ha? We call this as corpus luteum spurium. Whereas, yung nagpo-progress talaga na yellow-bodied structure na nakita ninyo noon sa inyong mga specimen at buntis yung specimen ninyo, we have the corpus luteum verum. Yan ang tawag sa kanila. Okay, so I hope this one is clear. And towards the end of the pregnancy at kapag manganganak na ang buntis, this corpus luteum will lyse or puputok yan or madedegenerate yan. Ang gagawin niya ngayon ay stop niyang production ng progesterone and magkakaroon na ng contraction ng uterus. Ipapanganak na ngayon yung offspring. Then right after that, this yellow-bodied structure will turn into a white-bodied structure. white-bodied structure, and we call this as the corpus albicans. Puti na iyan, like this one. Albicans. Remember the term albino, white. So, ganun din ito. The corpus albicans. Klaro?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, moving on. Okay. Pinasadahan na natin to. We have the primordial follicle. It's composed of a single layer of granulosa cell that are flattened. Whereas for the primary follicle, single layer of granulosa cells, but by this time, they are cuboidal in shape. For the secondary follicle, this is composed of 6 to 9 layers of cuboidal granulosa cell and a complete ovum or egg cell. Then we have the early tertiary follicle. Why early? Because of the presence of small antrum here. So it is composed of several layers of granulosa cells also. And if we try to take a look with the histogram or histology of the ovary, so let me remind you that this one is the cortex, correct? Cortex ito. Tama? And if we try to take a look with the different structures present, take a look with this one. Nakikita ninyo ito? Yung ating primordial follicle.
Yes, Doc.
And then, if you might have noticed, the granulosa cells here are flattened in shape, correct? And then let's take a look with the primary follicle. Look at the shape of the granulosa cell. It's not flattened, but this one is cuboidal in shape. All right? So moving on. Yes. Ano yon? Sa akin? Ano yon? Wait lang guys. Title.
Oh. Mag-letter lang kayo. Address niyo na lang kay Ma'am Sagiwan lang. I-address niyo na lang kay Ma'am Director ng research. Tapos sabihin niyo doon na palit ng title. Na ito yung old title niyo. Yung title. O di kaya yung method sa'yo, di ba? Ito yung method sa'yo. Ito yung dating methods. Ito yung lagay nyo na lang yung basic. I-recommend na lang sa o i-note na lang sa advisory committee pati din. Saan? Yung letter mismo, yung letter mismo, yun talaga yung mag-upload na nagpalit kayo ng title saka yung methods. Pag na-aprobahan niyo yung mag-iwan kayo ng copy. Replicate niyo yung copy para meron dito, meron sa atin. Ganoon na lang. From old to new. Tapos mag-stay kayo ng rest. Bakit?
Bye.
Next week na ba kayo mag-ocular? Ikaw? Pwede naman. Maguhuli ka. Sige, pakawala ako.
So moving on, I'm sorry for the interruption. We have here also the primary follicle. which is composed of a single layer of cuboidal. And then the secondary is we have this one. It is composed of 6 to 9 layers of cuboidal follicle or granulosa cells. And when we say developing follicle, ito yung mga follicle na hindi pa prominent yung kanilang antrum or the theca layers. Yung ito kasi ay theca layers ito eh. Yeah. Or the supportive structure of the developing follicle. And this one is a very matured follicle, or we can call this as the Graafian follicle or the tertiary follicle, because of a very wide coverage of the antrum. So as I have said before, this structure is very rich in, or the follicular fluid that contains in it is very rich in estrogen hormone because of, say, in the theca layer or in the theca cells, or I will draw this na lang schematically. Say we have here the theca cell. Okay, the theca cell will produce the androgen. And then adjacent to the theca cell, we have the granulosa cell here. In granulosa cell, we have this aromatase enzyme that could possibly convert androgen into estrogen. Okay, so the androgen structure in this granulosa cell will be the estrogen. Okay, and after the granulosa cell, this estrogen will be secreted or excreted in a paracrine manner. So from granulosa cell going to the antrum. That's why your antrum is a deposit of estrogen hormone. Nagkakaintindihan? Ha? Yeah, and please do take note also that the ovum here ay tinutulak na ng antrum or ng follicular fluid, or in Latin we call this as the liquor folliculi, papalabas or papunta dito sa structure na to para mag-ovulate. So in mga embryo book, lagi ninyong nakikita itong structure na ito. Itong ovum natin. Ito, sorry. Naayos ko pa. Itong nakikita ninyo lagi na nandito ang egg cell, merong zona pellucida, may granulosa cell dyan, at saka merong corona radiata. So ito yung portion na ito. Pagka nag-ovulate kasi yan, hindi lang si ovum ang nandoon, pero kasama niya pa itong mga nandito. Klaro? And
Yes, Doc.
yeah, for the embryonic development, itong mga primordial follicle ay nag-originate yan sa yolk sac. No? Then this primordial germ cell have this amoeboid movement. Gumagapang sila going to the genital ridge. Pupunta sila sa genital ridges, or we have the genital tubercle. So let's magnify this one. No? Say we have here, we have the primordial follicle or the primordial germ layers of cells from the yolk sac. Then this will be migrated or lilipat sila dito sa may hindgut papunta kay genital ridge or the genital tubercle. And if we try to magnify this structure, nandito sila galing, nandito yung yolk sac, nandito sila galing yung primordial germ layers, and then pumunta sila kay genital ridge through amoeboid movement. Then right after that migration, here comes the invasion of the future testis and the ovary. So they will be incorporated in what you call that, in the secondary sex cords o mga sex cords ng developing testes at developing ovary. Okay? So, if we try to take a look at this one, so nanggaling na sila kay yolk sac, pumunta na sila kay genital ridges, and then nag-migrate na sila sa mga sex cords. So, this is indifferent, no? Nandito na yung inyong mga sex primordial germ cells. So kapag ka-developing testis yan, ay ma-incorporate na kaagad dito sa primary sex cord na nagiging future seminiferous tubules. So that's why the site of spermatogenesis or creation of the sperm cell ay nangyayari yan kay seminiferous tubules. And at the same time, similar with the female ovary, ay na-incorporate na itong mga primordial follicles doon sa periphery ng future embryo, ng future ovary. That's why makikita ninyo ang mga oogonia, ang mga oogonia or oogonium ninyo sa periphery ng ovary. Okay? And moving on, this diagram shows you the oogenesis, and before birth, there is this determined number of oogonia in female. So this one will undergo mitosis and still producing the diploid, but the oogenesis there will arrest in the development until such that this individual is, say, in pubertal stage na or ipinanganak na siya, inactive pa rin yung kanyang ovary, but with the influence of hormones, then the oogenesis will resume. So from the primary oogonia or primary oocyte, I should say, this will undergo meiosis or the reduction division. So from the production of a diploid, there will be a production of haploid, secondary oocyte 1, and then the first polar body. So similarly, the secondary oocyte is capable now of receiving the sperm cell, receiving the sperm cell, and by the time that it has been penetrated by the sperm cell, then here comes the completion of the oogenesis. And we have the haploid sperm cell plus the haploid egg cell or the oocyte will produce a diploid zygote or developing embryo. Plus we have also the second polar body. So let me just review you that one oogonia will produce, one oogonium will produce one egg cell. Correct? Tama ba?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah. Whereas the one spermatogonium, sperm ha, one spermatogonium will lead into how many sperm cell? Ha?
2, Doc.
Are you sure? One oogonium, one oogonium. Nakikita tong tinatype ko?
Yes, Doc.
One oogonium will lead to one ovum. Whereas one spermatogonium will lead into 4 sperm cells. Ha? Yan ha. Lagi ninyong tatandaan yan ha. Okay, so moving on. Oops. Okay, let's go with the secondary sex organs. Now we have the oviduct. And this oviduct is also called as the uterine tube, the fallopian tube. We have also the salpinx. So this connects the bigla ko inantok. So this serves as a conveyor. Daanan siya ng egg cell from the ovary going to the uterine horn. And might as well, this facilitates also the fertilization. It is the site of fertilization. Particularly, we have the junction between the isthmus and the ampullary, or the ampulla. So this is the isthmo-ampullary junction. So this is the exact site of fertilization, the isthmo-ampullary junction. Okay, so it is a connector between the ovary and we have also the uterus. Thank you. Sige. Sige. Sige lang. Carry lang. Okay, and aside from that, the picture on the right side of the screen shows you the dissected oviduct, no, from the ampulla going to the isthmus. And I just want you to note this fringe-like structure here. So this is the fimbria. The fimbria, or the fringe structure that covers or that wraps the ovary. Once the ovulation happens, this serves as a support structure that could catch the ovulated egg. And if we try to take a look at with this one is the funnel, and it has hole, this one. And this hole is called as ostium, or we have the ostium abdominale. And then dito papasok yung egg cell, and then this will traverse the ampulla, and then afterwards it will enter the isthmus. Okay? So yun yung way para tawag dito, para makapag-usad yung egg cell. Similarly, yung sperm cell naman na manggagaling sa site of deposition sa pinakababa.
Yes.
Say we have the cervix, and we have the body of the uterus. This one. Manggagaling ang sperm cell dito, pupunta sa uterine horn, and then papasok dito kay isthmus para i-meet si egg dito. Okay, kaya ang sabi diyan, it has a unique function of conveying the egg and the sperm in opposite direction. Kasi manggagaling sa baba ang egg cell, ang sperm cell, manggagaling sa taas naman ang egg cell. Okay, so moving on, this is the fimbria. Ito yun. This is the fimbria. And then we have the infundibulum here. And we have the ostium. So this serves as a support structure in catching the ovary. And we have the different structure present in the fimbria. Say we have the ovarian bursa. It covers completely the ovary of the pig. And then we have also in horse or the mare, it covers only the ovulation fossa. Ovulation fossa. Okay, and yeah, this is a sweep on the surface of the ovary. Naka-plaskat, nakalagay siya, ready na saluhin yung mag-ovulate na egg. Okay, and this is another picture of the ovary of the horse. Please do take note of the size. It is a kidney shape. Kidney shape. And this number 2 is the ovulation fossa. Ovulation fossa. And aside from that, your number 3 here, this one is the fimbria. Okay? Fimbria. So expected that inside it is the infundibulum, and we have here the oviduct. Okay? Number 6, the oviduct. Ganyan ang itsura po niyan. Ano po? Nagkakaintindihan tayo. Ha? Nagkakaintindihan tayo. So moving on, we have the infundibulum. It catches. No? It catches ito kasi dissected ito eh. I'm sorry class, na nahiwa siya, pero para siyang funnel yan. No? And it depends doon sa kung ano yung age ng animal, doon sa size ng infundibulum. And we have also the opening of the reproductive tract in the abdominal cavity of the female, and then we call this as the ostium or the ostium abdominale. Okay, so let's take a look with the ampulla. So this ampulla is more than half of the length ng oviduct. For the isthmus, it is lesser, no? Mas maigsi ang isthmus natin. So for the ampulla, it connects the infundibulum and the isthmus. For the isthmus, it connects the ampulla and we have the uterotubal junction and the uterine horn. Ganyan ang structure na pagkakasunod-sunod ha, huwag ninyong pagbali-balik ta rin. And in terms of the lumen or the musculature of this ampulla and we have the isthmus. So tawag dito, remember yung loci sa histo ninyo. Loci. So we have the outer longitudinal muscle, so sa labas. And then we have the circular inner naman. So kung titignan natin yung outer region ng musculature ng oviduct, ito yon. And yung striation ng muscle here ay longitudinal, pahaba. Kaya kapag ka nag-contract ang outer muscle, the length of the oviduct will be shortened. Iigsi siya. In comparison to the inner na circular, kapag ka nag-contract ito or nagkaroon ng muscle contraction, the diameter of the oviduct will be lessened or liliit. Tandaan niyo yan ha. So thickness increases from ovarian to uterine end. Therefore, doon sa ampulla, mas maluwang yung diameter niya. Okay? Correct. Mas malaki and then habang papunta siya kay uterine end, lumiliit. Ay, nalito na ako. Sorry, nalito ako. The thickness increases from the ovarian to the uterine end. Yung thickness niyan ay medyo kumakapal pala siya habang lumalayo siya sa ovary. Yun. Okay? And in terms of the musculature, similar with the smooth muscle in the gastrointestinal tract, meron din tayong mga contractions na nangyayari, like we have the peristalsis or the localized peristalsis. Pardon for the picture because I grabbed this in a digestive physiology. Look at this one, the food bolus, but it has the same mechanism as with the oviduct. Peristalsis is contraction or wave-like contraction of the smooth muscle. Then we have also the segmental, nasa segment or per segment siya nagko-contract. And we have the riffling contraction or parang uod na yan. Kapag ka nagsabay-sabay sila or simultaneously we have the localized segmentation, the localized peristalsis, the segmentation, and the riffling contraction, yan na mangyayari yung movement. So this is in conjunction with the function of the kinocillia. And in terms of the mucosa, it is composed of different folds. We have the primary folds, the secondary folds, and tertiary folds. So, ito ang lumen. Kapag sinabi natin primary fold, ito yung pinakaunang fold na nangyari or nag-occur mula sa lumen ng oviduct. Secondary fold happens when the primary fold ay nag-branch pa. That's the secondary fold. And then tertiary naman ay kapag itong secondary fold mo ay nag-branch ulit. So that's the tertiary folds. And I just want you to take note that in the ampulla, if we try to take a look with the folds, halos ma-occupy na ng buong lumen yung mga folds. So this one is the ampulla. Look at this. This one is the primary, and then we have the secondary fold here, and then we have the tertiary fold. All right, and as we have the different portions of the oviduct from the ampulla to isthmus, the height of these folds decreases. No? Kaya mas makikita mo yung lumen. Like this one, meron na tayong visible na lumen here. Therefore, we are now in the isthmus. Unlike this one, wala tayong makita. Kaya ito ay, ano to? Ampulla. Okay, ampulla. And sabi dito, habang ang oviduct or fallopian tube daw ay papunta sa ovary, mas kumakapal yung or mas tawag dito, tumataas yung mucosal fold and na-occupy ng lumen completely. Kaya dun sa ampulla, remember ovary, infundibulum ampulla, mataas yung mucosal folds, and then the isthmus, medyo visible na ang lumen. Okay. Like this one, and this is the ampulla. Then we have the isthmus here. Okay, so secondary sex organs, we have also the mucosa of the oviduct. If we try to take a look with this, there are ciliated cells. Nasaan ang cilia? Etong nandito sa taas, and we call this as the kinocilia. But we have also the non-ciliated cells, and we call these cells as the peg cells. Peg cells. Okay. So speaking of the uterus, different species of animals may have these different types of uterus. That depends on the how many cervices, how many bodies, or how many vaginas are there. Like we have in simplex uterus, if we try to take a look with this, there is this large uterine body, no uterine horn, simplex. Okay. But we have also the bipartite. If we try to take a look with the uterine horn of this one, ay merong dalawa pero maliit. Maliit ang uterine horn nila. Bipartite. Example, we have the cattle. Then we have also the modified bipartite, pero parehas lang din sila, like in the mare. And then we have also the bicornuate. Speaking of the bicornuate, the horn or the uterine horn ay tortuous or mahaba or malaki, like that of sasaw. Okay. Two long uterine horn. And then we have also the duplex. We have one vagina, dalawang cervices, and then dalawang uterine horn. 1, 2, 2. For the advanced duplex, 2, 2, 2 lahat yan. 2 vaginas, 2 cervices, and 2 uterine horn. Okay, so please take note of that. For the musculature of the uterus, in histology, we have 3 types of muscle. It depends on the location. Say if that is present in the inner part of the uterus, then we call this as the endometrium, like this one. This is the endometrium. And the middle part or the middle muscle of the uterus is we have the myometrium. Ito siya, the myometrium. And then we have also the outer muscle, which is the perimetrium. And I just want you to note that in the endometrium, this is where the caruncle occurs, and the endometrial glands are present here. This is for the production of the nourishment that is needed by the developing embryo. Whereas for the myometrium, this one is responsible for the parturition or the heightened abdominal contraction kapag ka nanganganak ang individual. Sensitive kasi ito sa presence ng estrogen as well as we have the oxytocin. So perimetrium is the support structure of the uterus. Okay, and the cells present dito sa endometrium ay mga columnar cells but non-ciliated. So, we try to take a look with where the endometrium is. So, ito ang endometrium. Ito ang myometrium. And then, ito ang perimetrium. So, let's take a look with the endometrium. Ang sabi dyan, we have the non-ciliated. We have the non-ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay? So, I hope this one ay natatandaan pa sa inyong histo class. And yeah, ito yung mga caruncles na present, yung mga parang tuldok-tuldok kanina sa una. But kung titingnan natin to in situ or in real life, para silang mga button mushrooms. And this is just only for the maternal side. And once there is this fetal cotyledon na kumabit kay maternal caruncle, itong mga ito yung inyong maternal caruncle, then we have the fetal cotyledon here. This composes the placentum. And if we try to take a look with that, ito yung itsura niyan. So here comes the developing embryo. And then we have the extra embryonic membrane here, the amnion. And look at this one. It has a direct contact with the maternal caruncle. So this is where the exchange of gases and nutrient happens in the placentum. Okay? Are we good? Nagkakaintindihan? Ha? Yeah. And cervix is the muscular part. No, pinakamatigas na part yan ng reproductive tract ng babae. And there are some modifications of the inner linings of the cervix. And it depends on the different species of animals. Say we have in pig, no? Kung titignan natin yan or hihiwain natin ang cervix niyan, makikita mo naka-spiral ang shape niya. Spiral yung shape ng kanilang pulvini cervicalis. So kung natatandaan ito, we have the pulvini cervicalis. Ito yung mga rings or annular rings doon sa cervix. And this separates the vagina from the uterus. And aside from that, in cattle, ito ay sobrang tigas. Sobrang tigas niyan. Okay. And ito yung mga species differences nila. So interlocking rings are prominent in cow and ewe. Ewe ay, ano to? Ano ulit ang ewe? Ewe ba yan or ewe? Baka mamaya 6th year na kayo, ewe pa rin ang basa nyo dyan. Ano yung ewe? Ewe ba yan? Iwe? Or ewe? Ewe yan Ano yan? 4th year. What's shape? Female shape. Very good. Ayokong makakarinig ng ew Ay, naku. You yan. You ang basa. Okay? And then, yung fulvini cervicalis na yun ay less prominent sa babaeng kabayo. But in sow or babaeng baboy, nagpo-form siya ng spiral shape para i-accommodate yung corkscrew shape na penis ng boar. Okay, like this one is very prominent yung interlocking rings dito sa male sheep as well as in the cattle. Okay, and in sow it's spiral shape, and please do take note in mare wala kang makikita, no, less prominent siya. Okay. And if we try to do the smear in the cervix, we could tell if the animal or the female animal is fertile or not. That is with the production or creation of the ferning. Parang fern yung tsura. Kapag ganito yung swab na inismear ninyo sa glass slide, pwedeng fertile na yung animal. Pero kapag may konting ferning pa lang, It is transitional. When we say transitional, it's in between the non-fertile and fertile state. Pero kapag wala kang na-notice, non-fertile yung animal.
Hello.
Ay, Doc.
Yung extension related na November.
Extension related. Ay, yung Go ATI, binhi program,
Pero sa wala kaming
write-ups.
Ano ba yan? Seminar?
Training, Doc.
Speaker lang?
Pinapunta lang kami.
May alam.
Meron na sa medical sa kay Ma'am Wayne yun.
Sige lang pagsulat na lang pinaglasan.
Tapos, di ba extension din yung funding?
Ay, yung sa ano,
Pero patapos na rin.
yung sa
Discourse.
chicken.
Chicken.
Discourse.
Discourses.
Ano nga pangalan mo?
ATI Region 3, binhi program. Oo.
Ako rin eh, magagawa din. Kailan yun? November 25.